Howdy, parents and students. Today in class we learned how to compare and order positive fractions. I don't feel like students got a great idea about how to do this, so I'm going to work through number 5, 6, and 7 from tonight's homework, and hopefully you can work along with me and see what's going on. Tomorrow we're going to be going into negatives, so it's really important that you understand the positives first. Okay, looking at number 5. They want us to order these from the lowest, least, to the highest, greatest. So what I want to do when I'm looking at a bunch of fractions is see, first of all, are there any whole numbers? 5 6, 4 fifths, 1/3, 2 8, 6 twelfths. No whole numbers. So everything is between 0 and 1. Well, then I want to look for, is something more than a half or less than a half? Well, 5 out of 6, that would be more than a half. I'm going to label that with an M. 4 out of 5 is also more than half, because half of 5 is 2 1/2, so 4 would be more. Half of 3 is 1 1/2, so 1 would be less. Half of 8 is 4, so 2 would be less. Half of 12 is 6, so this is exactly 1/2. So since I have 2 more than a half and 2 less than a half, I'm going to work everything around the 6 out of 12, which is a half. Like that. Now I'm going to start with the least side. That would be my 1/3 and my 2 eighths. What we learned in class was you could take 1/3 and 2 eighths and using the butterfly method multiply across and up. 8 times 1 is 8. And 3 times 2 is 6. So the 8 is bigger than the 6. That means 1/3 is bigger than the 2 eighths. So the 2 eighths has got to be the smaller. The 2 eighths is going to be my least amount, and my 1/3 is the next one up, greater. Then the 6 twelfths, that was our halfway mark. Now the 5 out of 6 and the 4 out of 5, those were both more than half. So using my butterfly effect, 5 6, 4 fifths, multiply across and up, I get 24. Across and up, I get 25. So the 25 is bigger than the 24. That means 5 6 is the biggest, and 4 fifths would be smaller. So the 4 fifths would be the next in the order, and the 5 6 would be the greatest. That's one strategy to order from least to greatest. The next one wants us to do the same thing. However, we're going to go now from greatest to least. So first let me check for any whole numbers. I have 1 here, 1 1/2. 4/3, that's improper. That would equal 1 1/3. So that's more than a whole. 4 fifths is less. 3 fourths is less. And 9/3, well, that's just 9 divided by 3, which is 3. Okay. Well, it looks like my greatest number is going to be this 3. So the 9/3 will go first. Okay, working on down. These are less than a whole. These are bigger than a whole. So which one is bigger? 1 1/2 or 1 1/3? Another strategy we did was finding the common denominator. 1 1/2 and 1 1/3 can both be built up to have a denominator of 6. 2 times 3 is 6, so 1 times 3 is 3. That would be 1 3/6. 3 times 2 is 6, so 1 times 2 is 2. That would be 1 2/6. So the 3/6 is bigger than the 2/6, like that, meaning the 1/2 is bigger than the 1/3. So the next one up in our list would be the 1 1/2 is greater, and the 1 1/3 is the next one, but we're going to put it back in the original 4/3. Alright, so got that one done, and that one done. Now what we have left are the 4 fifths and the 3 fourths. Again, we could use common denominator, or we could use our butterfly. 5 times 3, 15. 4 times 4, 16. Ooh, they were very close. The 16 is greater, So the 16, which is the 4/5, will go first. And then the 3/4 is the smaller one that will go last. Remember when you're doing the butterfly that you multiply from the bottom up and you write the number at the top. Bottom up, number at the top, and go diagonally. Okay, last question. Woohoo! The rainfall for 4 districts within a city during the storm are recorded in the table. List these values in order from the least to the greatest, and which matches this order. Okay, first I want to look at the whole numbers. 3, 3, 3, 3, no help. They're all the same. So then I look to the fractions. I'm going to see, is there any that are more than a half or less than a half? District M has 1/4, that would be less than a half. 7/10, that would be more than a half. 4/5, more than a half. And 3 out of 7. Well, 7 cut in half would be 3 1/2, so this has to be less. Now, if we're going to go from the least to the greatest, I'm going to look at District M and District Q. They're both least. So what would be smaller, 1/4 or 3/7? Well, let's find a common denominator. I'm going to build it to 28 because 7 times 4 is 28. So if I take 7 times 4 to get 28, I have to do 3 times 4, which is 12. 4 times 7 is 28, so I have to do the same to the top. 1 times 7 is 7. So which one would be smaller, the 7/28 or the 12? It would be the 7. So District M has to go first, and District Q has to go second. So looking at my results, District P is out, M is first, Q is second, District P. So A and D are automatically eliminated. Okay, now I'm going to the next step. The 7/10 or the 4/5, which one is bigger? I can build my 4/5 up to a 1/10 by doing times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. So the 8/10 is bigger, the 7/10 is smaller. If I'm going from least to greatest, the 7/10 would be next on my list. And the 8/10 would be the bigger one. So I should have N and then P. P then N? No. N then P. Yes. So the answer to number 7 will be C. Thanks for sticking with this. Watch it a few more times to understand, and have a great evening. Take care. Bye.